Okay. Hi. Day 40 of my solitary quarantine. Day 3 of live streaming. Day 3, for the record, I'm starting to establish a little bit of a sense of routine to this, which is nice. But today it feels a little bit difficult. I miss performing in front of an audience, like a live, physically present audience. Today, the reality of the physical distance between everyone is starting to set in, and I'm struggling a little bit with it. But I'm also happy that you guys are choosing to tune in every day, so thank you for that. I really like doing this. I really enjoy it. I feel like it gives me some sense of purpose. So 7 days shouldn't be that difficult. 7 days shouldn't be that difficult. So for those of you who are brand new to all of this, I'm doing this to keep myself motivated and performing and creative and give myself purpose and drive and make myself cute every day so I can actually do my hair and makeup and all of that fun stuff because I've been struggling with that. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who donated. I met my fundraising goal for shipping supplies and I ordered everything today. So a special shout out to Jacob Morris for his generosity and support. I've known that kid forever. We used to be in a writing group years and years ago that my mom actually hosted at the Palmdale Playhouse. And then we went to high school together and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. So he sent me a donation for my shipping materials. And so I placed everything today. So I'm very excited about that. Love the cobalt blue sweater. Oh, thank you. This is one of my favorite sweaters, especially since I've been a blonde. I feel like it makes it pop more, and it makes my eyes pop. So thank you, Sophie. Okay, so I'm currently working on setting up an online store that will go live by the end of the week. So if you want to order any books or art prints or typewriter pieces, you'll be able to do that online, all in one place on my website. Until then, for the next 4 days during the live stream, if you Venmo me $25, you'll get a paperback copy of one of my books of your choice, an 11-word observation bookmark, which will be laminated, and one of these personalized typewritten pieces from one of my books, signed, and it'll be the first draft of it, so it might have like an error or two, and then it's super special and will be worth tons and tons of money one day. If you don't want all of that nonsense and you like my art better than my writing, you can Venmo me $10 and you will get a copy of Goodnight Texas, which is a painting that I did. You'll get a print of that if you Venmo me $10. And I will send you all of the information that you need so that I can get it to you in a timely manner. So I'm very excited. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. So my Venmo is Taylor Bradley 91 if you want to. Please feel free to ask questions while I'm doing this. I know a couple people have said they don't want to interrupt me, but don't worry about interrupting me. I'm here for you guys and for me, but I'm here for you guys. So please feel free to comment or say things. Also, please feel free to recommend a theme at some point during the live stream. I write a small piece that I start every single day off with based on a theme that I choose from one of the recommended themes from the previous day. So please recommend a theme at any point. What I'm drinking today, because I'm out of wine, if you've been following the wine train, I'm out of wine. This is a gin and tonic, which is not my usual drink at all, but it's pineapple tonic water, which they had, and gin. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. Kind of gross, but whatever, it's fine. We're in quarantine. Doesn't really matter. Yesterday, I focused on paintings. Today, I'm going to be showing off my hand-painted garden gnome and a collage. That's going to be my art segment for today. And yes, gin and tonic, Megan. I'm glad that you like it. Today, I'm going to start with a piece that I wrote from yesterday's chosen theme, which was staircases. And then I'll go into some more material from my second book, Withdrawals. So, without further ado, gin, yuck, I know. It's not the best, it's not my favorite, but I know a lot of people like it and it's a classy drink. Okay, back to what I was saying. Without further ado, my piece on staircases, which was yesterday's chosen theme. Staircases. You never think of hallways, laundry rooms, doorways, and staircases. But those in-between places are often where the most unexpected moments occur, on your way to or from a more notable room. But those accidental run-ins, phone calls, hidden kisses, injuries, usually happen when our minds are set on something else. In the early mornings, I like to sit on my stairs and read. A cup of coffee on one stair, my book in my lap, and my feet perched up on the wall, making me feel cradled in this little nook of in-between. I like to spend moments breathing in the spaces ignored. Nothing is designed to distract me here. It's still, and it feels eternal. Okay, that was what I did yesterday for staircases, the theme staircases. So please recommend a theme for me today, and I will write a piece about it and share it first thing on the stream tomorrow. Okay, before I go any further into my art or anything, I want to read another piece. I feel like I have so many things I want to share, and today I tried to pick up the gloominess a little bit. I know yesterday was a little bit gloomy, so today I was like, I'm going to wear something bright, and I'm going to try to do some happier things. This one isn't really happy or sad, it just kind of is, and it's about something that did actually happen. Most of the stuff is about things that actually happened, but it's kind of an in-between piece. Let's see, I'm getting a lot of comments. Rain. Love this. You're so right. Those seemingly unimportant spaces are so undervalued and unappreciated. They are. I highly recommend spending time in them. Okay. This one's called A Precarious Table. And if you know me personally, you probably know what this is about. But if you don't, I would love to know what you think it's about. 11:32 a.m. He poured us both vodka tonics with ice in plastic cups. He would have preferred the more classic option, but the cork had broken off, freckling the gin with bits of brown. He poured half of it down the drain, trying to fish it out with his fingers. I hope it wasn't expensive. I sat at the kitchen table, lined with fragile objects that no one had claimed yet. Glass swans, blue drinking glasses with gold rims, a candy dish, still filled with bagged almonds, and misplaced phone numbers written hurriedly while listening to people recite how to reach them only once and too quickly on the bits of real estate agent notepads that used to live beside the telephone. A candy jar with a silver lid, half empty with Hershey's Kisses, their fragile paper tails allowing them the breakability to belong on this table. Everything was still. The air hadn't been moved in days, and swirls of newly disturbed dust still clung to the air, catching the light like little murky stars when the sun struck them. How are you feeling? He sat in a red motorized scooter, lifting his feet onto the small platform beneath him. His hand found the toggles with ease, and the tiny engine awoke on command. I'm doing okay. He zipped in small circles, leaving trails of electronic buzzing in his wake. He sipped his drink and set the plastic cup on the table of the easily broken, which offended it enough to evoke an almost unnoticeable sound of clinking. All it could muster, I suppose. I felt very much at home with the disarray, and decided it was best to keep my cup in my hands for now, not wanting to further upset the culinary tools and drinkware. I needed them to be okay with my being around for a while, so I breathed gently beside them, allowing their dust to resettle and provide some comfort to their bones, a little added weight to help them stay grounded. It's a little weird being here, but I appreciate it. He lifted his cup and took another sip. He would not be setting it down again until it was nearly empty. The rubber wheels reverberated off the linoleum, amplifying the buzz that anything with a battery gives off. The remote control car of a young boy spends hours piloting, listening to the reassuring rise and fall of volume as it speeds closer and then further away. Are you going to finish that? I handed him my cup of half-melted ice and vodka. No. I stood and began to gather trash without permission. I needed the bag of almonds put away in the cupboard, and the phone numbers put in the pile of unsorted paper, and the empty silver foil balled up and tossed in with the last few cigarette butts to be thrown away, so that the table could so clearly reflected the precariousness of my current state of being would be able to rest a while longer and bask in the glory of how beautiful it can be to exist on the verge of breaking. So, I don't really want to go into too much detail about that one, but I think it's one of my favorite pieces. It's one of the most vulnerable pieces I've ever written. Okay, now I would like to share with you my gnome. So this is my newly painted hand gnome. I got him from an antique store called Nick's Metropolis in Hollywood. It's like a prop shop and antique store forever ago, like 8 years ago. And he looked real beat up, and I just kind of had him real beat up for a long time. But I repainted him with acrylic paints, and I still need to spray him, but I can't order sealant spray. So he's just going to have to make sure to stay out of the elements, and I have to be careful with him. So I use him for a jewelry dish. Everyone always asks me, why do you have a gnome and why do you carry this thing everywhere? I call him my home gnome. He represents where home is to me, and wherever I end up being at the time. He sits next to my bed. And I keep my earrings in his feet and my chapsticks in his lap. And my favorite bracelet that my best friend Stephanie got me for Christmas. It has a secret inscribing on the inside, but I'm not going to give it away. So he holds that. These are flowers from a fundraiser gala that I produced with my theater company a couple years ago. It was the centerpieces of it on every table. So I kept one, and it's taped together. I kept one, so it reminds me of the gala. These are feathers that I got last year during Mardi Gras. This boy that I met on Frenchman Street was just walking around. We were listening to the same band that was busking, and he had these feathers pinned to his hat, and he took them off and gave them to me. And so it represents Mardi Gras and my love for New Orleans. And then this little hair clip right here, I keep one of my closest friends, Shirley, who I worked with for many years. I don't live in California anymore, so I haven't seen her in a little bit. She's an old movie actress, and she got a whole bunch of these hair clips, and she told me, you need to do something with your hair every once in a while if you want a boyfriend, so you're going to give you one of these hair clips. And I was like, geez, Cheryl, thanks. But I don't really do anything with my hair. I just kind of let it be. So for Shirley today, I will wear the hair clip just to show that I can do something with my hair every once in a while. But if you want to see any more detail on him, this is him. I love him very much. He doesn't have a typical name. He's just named my home gnome. And there used to be a pin that lived here, but I need to find something new for that area. So if you have any ideas. Okay, so that took me, let's see, about maybe 5 hours, so not too bad. If the hair clips were all it took. I know. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe this time with the hair clip, someone will be like, wow, all of a sudden she's gorgeous. So we'll see. Okay, I'm going to share another piece. Enough about art and hair clips. So this one is called Burrito Car Accident. And this isn't a poem. It's a short story. Very short story. And yeah, it's called Burrito Car Accident. It kind of describes itself. I didn't see much. The driver's side of the car was already crushed by the time we drove up. She was still in her car. All the airbags were open and deflated around her. The lights inside the car had all turned on, so she was easy to spot. A little leaky bubble of light in the center of a strip of darkness. The kid who was driving the pickup truck that hit her was already out of the car, trembling as his spindly fingers fumbled to dial 911. We pulled over as soon as we saw something was wrong. And without thinking, I ran over to this woman stuck in her small cage of light, and airbag smoke and opened the passenger door. The driver's side was pushed up against her leg, lightly touching the steering wheel, holding it steady for her. "Are you okay?" Her white hair stood on end, softly pointing out in every direction, an inappropriately dark commercial for Aquanet. She didn't speak. "Can you move?" She looked around. "Not without help." I climbed partially into the car, kneeling onto the passenger seat, reaching to help her with her seatbelt, which was jammed, and coughing through the thick chemical smoke that filled the car. My boyfriend at the time, in an attempt to help, reached into the car and picked up a giant unwrapped burrito from the floor of the passenger side. It was ice cold and needed to be held with 2 hands. After finally getting the seatbelt unlatched, the large, frightened woman put both of her arms around my neck and shoulders awkwardly, and I hoisted her over the center console onto the passenger seat, and then helped her to her feet, finally able to feel the pavement, finally able to breathe freely. My boyfriend stood behind me, occupied and perplexed by this massive tortilla-enshrouded chilled dinner that he had found. Then you and your team pulled up, sirens wailing, forcing every tired, cranky, and absent-minded person to pull over for a moment and send their thoughts and prayers to a stranger. Thankfully, all parties came out of the incident unscathed, feeling nothing more than a little shock and the hunger of a missed dinner. So that actually happened. I saw this woman who had gotten into a car accident. This teenage boy had hit her. And I had never been in a car accident that had the airbags deploy, so I had never smelled what that smelled like before. It was really strong. The smoke was really strong inside the car, but I'm glad I got her out. I'm glad that she was okay. But it was just so absurd because there was this giant burrito that was unwrapped on the floor of the passenger seat. It was like literally gigantic. And yeah, my boyfriend at the time just was worried about the burrito. Anyway, I can laugh now because nobody was hurt, but it was just such an absurd and weird moment that I was like, I'm going to need to write about this. Okay, next I want to share a piece called Grape Juice. And this one I want to talk about a little bit before I read it because it has to do with religion. And I grew up not in a religious household. I had a lot of friends growing up that were religious, and I have a lot of friends now that are religious, all through the spectrum of different religions. And I respect all of them equally, and I always wished for the comfort that religion provided, and I have not been able to find it yet. So this is a piece I kind of wrote about that frustration of trying to find the comfort that so many people that I know have found. Grape juice. I've always felt uncomfortable in churches. Like everyone knows I shouldn't be there. I don't know the hymns. I don't know the prayers, and I never know if I should say amen or amen, so I never say anything, hoping not to call attention to myself. I'm always standing when I should be sitting or sitting when I should stand. I'm so fidgety, I always end up knocking something over or accidentally losing a heel beneath a pew, then standing on one bended knee with one bare foot on the polished wood at the wrong time, saying the wrong words, and staying silent through the amens. I was always jealous of people that found comfort in churches, when all I found was 4 walls and stained glass windows where people referenced lessons that I should have been taught. I have to nod like an idiot and pretend I know. It makes me feel like a fraud, like I'm lying in the one place I really shouldn't be, like I'm being watched by all the painted eyes that look like they've been crying for centuries. I pass the basket without adding any money, and I don't eat the crackers or drink the wine because it feels like a weird symbolic cannibalism that I don't understand. I think I would feel the stain of the grape juice at the corners of my mouth for the rest of my life, reminding me that even as an adult, I have a hard time knowing the difference between lying and not telling the truth. So that's that. I feel like that one's kind of self-explanatory. But it was I felt like I really needed to put that in words at one point. I think it was about 2 years ago that I wrote that, maybe 3, maybe 4. God, what year is it? Time is flying. Okay. Anyway, I want to share one more piece of art, and then I will read one of my favorite pieces. I think Stephanie's watching, and I know this is one of her favorite pieces too. So this one is dedicated to Stephanie. But before that, I want to share a collage that I did. And this one is, I loved this image. I saw this image in an old magazine, and I loved that she had this claw hand, and he was asking her something. He was giving her some flowers or something, and this old man was there for some reason. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I was like, there is a story here for certain. So I was like, if I were to try to translate this piece into a story, what would it be about? And I imagined this woman as like a very independent, strong woman who did not want to get married. And you have this guy who came back from war, and he's looking for a wife to settle down with. And either this is his dad or like the flower shop owner or something. And she's so on the defensive because that's so not what she wants. So this says, please stop. I know it's backwards for Instagram, so I apologize, but I'll try to read some of it. It says, please stop. Up here it says, bitter marriage. There was this short story that was in the same magazine about like this horror story of this woman who got married to the wrong man, and you know, all of these things. Also, it says married women pays up to $22 a week. And you could get fake diamond rings to wear for $1. You could send them off. So if you weren't married and were ashamed of it, you could get a very cheap fake wedding ring to wear so people wouldn't be ashamed of you and you wouldn't be embarrassed. And then these are little bits of the short story from the bitter marriage piece. And I blocked out the parts that weren't as important so that the parts that were open and not blocked out were more focused on. It says, I was in love with him, and that was everything that mattered. It was only a few weeks after he proposed that the first attack came. I made up my mind he mustn't know about it and that it would worry him. But then I learned news that was like a sentence of doom. So, things like that. Wayne says, you have one of those. I do have a fake wedding ring. Thank you, Wayne, actually. That was a Christmas present from him. So, thank you. I love it. Hopefully it was more than $1. But if it wasn't, it's still beautiful. Sophie says, as someone that did grow up in a religious home and still considers myself religious, I want to let you know that even we still feel this way in church. Wow, that's really powerful. Thank you for that. That's nice to know, actually. It makes me feel a little bit less alone. Thank you. That really means a lot. Wow, I had no idea. Okay. I'm going to have a sip of something, and then I'm going to share the piece that I'd like to dedicate to Stephanie, because I know she loves this one. Okay. This one is called To-Do List. Sit down and do the thing. The thing that you've been putting off for how long now? How many excuses will you think up before you've exhausted yourself? How many days spent with this thing that's gnawing at your mind are you willing to spend before you've just fucking had enough and you're ready to be done thinking about it? It's taking up valuable space. Evict it. Look at your list and pick 3 things to give up on. Gone, finished, I quit. Millennials have been taught that quitting makes you a quitter, but quitting actually just makes you smart. Not everything. Don't quit trying, but sometimes you just need to give it up. Tell it you're done with its negativity, and you will no longer allow its pressure to drain you. Okay, back to your list. Pick 2 things that you've been writing from list to list to list, week after God-forsaken week, and just do them. Both of them. Right now. I'll wait. Clearly, if it's a book, you would put a bookmark there. Don't you feel 1,000,000 pounds lighter? Look at your list one last time. How long will the rest of those things take? An hour? 3 hours? Well, guess what, sunshine? You have 24 hours today and another 24 tomorrow. And if this fucking list takes you longer than 48 hours, you have too many things on your list. You need to hire an assistant or an intern or something. But my guess is that everything on your list, everything, can be done in 48 hours. It's up to you to hammer it out and be done with all those unnecessary procrastination weights, taking up all the parts of your brain that are used to create new things and come up with new ideas and be spontaneous without having to say, oh, I have to do X, Y, and Z before next week. I really should get home. When we all know you're lying to yourself and your poor friends, you are not about to rush home and do those things. You're going to shower and sit and stare at your phone for hours before you realize you wasted another evening, and you're going to stress about it for the whole day and the day after that. And especially when you rewrite your to-do list and that thing that you had to get done is still on there. Be done. Vow to give that shit up. Start fresh. Breathe a little bit lighter. Just do this for yourself. Please. Buy a new notebook. Start a new list. And just do the things that are on it. Or take it off the list. Don't make yourself hate yourself anymore. We're done with that now. That one was written for me when I had realized that I had written almost the exact same to-do list, probably 10 times, give or take a couple items. And I was like, oh, this is too big. And every single time I rewrote something, I gave it more power, and it was harder and harder to do. So here's your little bit of productivity encouragement for the day. I know we're all stuck at home all the time now, so it's hard to be like, get it done and be productive when we're all like just kind of wanting to sit at home. But I think that it's important. Okay, my last piece for the evening. While I'm doing this, please feel free to submit theme options. I love writing a new piece every day based on something that you guys recommend. So please submit a theme, and I will write a piece about one of the chosen themes, and I will read it first thing tomorrow. So it's 8:27. These 30 minutes fly by. I love them. I hope you guys have fun too. Okay. Theme Mandy Patinkin. I'm not going to write about Mandy Patinkin, okay? I love him. He's very handsome. But I'm not going to write about Mandy Patinkin. I already wrote a poem about you, Wayne. I don't need to write another poem about Mandy Patinkin. Okay. This one is called You Remind Me. Sometimes you meet someone who swears that you look just like their friend, ex, aunt, favorite actress from a TV show that you've never seen. And they look at you funny the entire time you're with them. Like they know you and you know them, but you're choosing to keep it a secret. Sometimes they look at you as if you single-handedly broke their heart, and you find yourself trying to remedy something that you aren't responsible for through basic small talk about the weather and whatever beer you're drinking and whatever game is on, the last book you read. Sometimes you look like someone who died, and this new acquaintance just looks at you, trying not to remember that you are not who they want you to be. They just want to look at you for another moment and watch you breathe and blink and laugh. But all it does is hurt. Because once someone leaves us and we've grieved, we shouldn't reimagine them beside us, sharing the same air. It tricks us into thinking that they aren't gone, just wandering the earth somewhere else, hoping to run into us again with a new name. That's all I have for you today. Yeah, that's always been a weird one for me, is is meeting people who think that I look like someone who I don't know. It's happened a couple times, and it's a strange interaction usually. Okay, please submit a theme option in the comments. Let's see. Wayne says, boo, everything except Mandy Patinkin. I'm sure Mandy would love it, though. That's true, he might. Well, if I don't get any other recommendations, it's looking like it might be Mandy Patinkin, so it's up to you guys. If no one says anything, Mandy Patinkin it is. A couple reminders. For the next 4 days during the live stream, if you Venmo me $25, you will get a paperback copy of one of my books and an 11-word observation bookmark, which will be laminated, and a first draft typewritten piece by me that I sign at the bottom. And if you don't like my writing or don't want to buy all of that stuff and you just want to Venmo $10, I will send you a print of my painting called Goodnight Texas. I'm trying to find other ways to make money during this quarantine because, like a lot of you, I am out of work. So this is a way for me to sell some things and make some money so I can pay my bills and all that kind of stuff. So my Venmo is Taylor Bradley 91. It's in the description in my Facebook page. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully when I close out of my Facebook one this time, it'll actually close. If you want to see something hilarious, if you watch yesterday's Facebook live stream, the last minute of the video is me with my thumb over the camera being like, please exit out, and it was frozen. It would not exit out. I had to close my computer. It was ridiculous. So that's a funny thing if you want to see it. But hopefully this will allow me to end it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow at the same time for day 4 of my creative live stream 7 days in a row. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.